Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and now that I've cleared up more space on my phone, I'm going to talk about books some more for, a change of pace. So my goal for the weekend is that within today's Friday evening and between now and Sunday morning, I'm going to try and do a 24-hour reading sort of adventure. I don't really know it's called a readathon because I'm not doing 24 straight hours, but in that time frame, I'd like it to add up to 24 hours because I am going on a little trip and I would like to finish some things before I go so I don't have to because I'm not going to take books where I'm like half done. That's not going to work for me. So I'm going to try and finish Gothic literature. I am only about a fifth of the way through, so that'll be my main focus, and then I'm going to try and finish the Satanic verses. I think I've got about 3 hours left on the audiobook, so that should be totally possible. And then if I manage that and have extra time, I've started reading Little Birds by Anise Nin. Not sure if that's actually how you say her name. Which I want to try and finish. It's not my favorite thing of all time so far. When was it written? 79. Yeah. So fine. It's fine. And then I might put her away at Horror Stories, Classic Tales from Hoffman to Hodgson. I've read the first few. Hoffman's Sandman was really cool. Nice to know where the Sandman legend, I guess you'd call it, came from. That was fun. The Man and the Bell was really cool. George Dobson's Expedition to Hell. Is that the one? What am I on right now? I am on Balzac's Le Grand Bretagne. The title is in French, but the actual story is not. It's in English. But I don't remember it. So, yeah, apparently I'm ambivalent about that one so far. And then the next one will be Bernice by Edgar Allan Poe. And then there's a Sheridan Le Fanu and Hawthorne and Melville and a whole bunch of other people stories in here. So that'll be my basically reward, I guess, if you want to call it that, if I get through everything else. Not that these are work. They're fun. But yeah. Anyway, I'll stop being ridiculous now and go read a book. And maybe make some muffins, because I've got some bananas that are getting a bit questionable. Okay, so the lighting is weird and gone now, which is exciting. And I continued reading Gothic literature, and then fell asleep and had a nap for like an hour. And then got distracted on my phone for like an embarrassing amount of time. It was ridiculous. I regret that life choice now. But then I made banana chocolate chip muffins while listening to the Satanic verses, which was fun. And now I have muffins and milk before I go to bed. So it wasn't an entirely wasted evening. I will try and get through more of the book tonight before I go to sleep. Here's hoping. I have finished the Satanic verses. It was incredible. I expect I'll talk more about it tomorrow. I'm still processing. I'm not really sure what happened there, but it was a heck of a journey. Anyway, now I'm listening to All the Colors in the Dark because it came in from the library. So it wasn't part of my plan, but when it comes in from the library, what can you do? And tonight I've pulled out the Tarot of Persephone's Garden to play with because it is getting to the time of the year where the garden is going to start to fade a little and then a lot. So I've pulled this up for a little bit. This guy's keeping me company. And I've got this lovely thing. Whoops. If I can get it to... I'm not coordinated enough at this hour of the day. Anyway, that's that for tonight. I think I've listened to about 6 hours of this audiobook so far. Not on, like, on 2 times speed, I think. So it is much too late. It's like 1:30 in the morning now, so good night. Okay, I'm 13 hours into 24 hours since yesterday. It's getting a little bit late in the day, like supper time, although I haven't actually looked at the clock lately. I slept in and then just got a bunch of things done while listening to audiobooks, mostly. So I finished the Satanic Verses last night, which is an extraordinary book. It's bizarre and epic and ridiculous and incredible. I don't really know what I read entirely, but I think that's probably part of the experience, because it's about 2 Indian actors who go to work in England, which would be quite a disorienting experience, I would imagine. I'm not having any experience on that. And so the experience of reading the book is disorienting. There are a lot of sections that are possibly dreams or hallucinations, and even the sections that are supposed to be more realistic, I'm not entirely sure they're not also hallucinations. It's a very strange book. I can see why it offended not religious people generally, but like fundamentalists. It would offend, because it's really irreverent. It's like James Joyce's books offending the Catholic Church. Like, there's no reverence whatsoever for any religion of any kind. So if you're a fundamentalist, not the book for you. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever reread it, but I'm really glad I read it, if only to know what the fuss is about. Because there is a lot of fuss, both positive and negative. And now I want to read his book, Knife, which is about the attack on him a couple years ago. Partly because of this book, or largely because of this book, I guess I should say. Yeah, glad I read that one. I spent some time this morning reading some of Gothic literature. It's gotten a bit shadowy in here. It's starting to get dark out earlier, which I'm actually happy about if that means we start to get fall weather soon, but it was still over 30 degrees today, Celsius. I don't know what that is in American, but it's too hot for me, whatever it is. So I read, 19th century Romantic era. It was, I think, where I was at last time, and now I've read through 19th century Gothic, Emily Bronte, Poe, Collins, and Stevenson, who are all favorites of my, well, Collins less so. Although I like the story in one of the characters of the Woman in White. The other 2 characters were just, you want to smack them sometimes. So that was a fun chapter. And now I'm on, and then there was From the Fin de Siècle to Modern Gothic, which is the end of the 1800s to about 1930, which is, if I find the start of this chapter, Stoker, like Bram Stoker, Dracula, is the main book considered here. H.G. Wells, M.R. James, and H.P. Lovecraft. And I think I've only read one Lovecraft story. Maybe I should read some more. I don't know. Haven't read M.R. James. I've read H.G. Wells, but don't recall really enjoying it. And Dracula was so sexist. I mean, I know the world was sexist then, the world is sexist now, but like, for God's sake. One woman, what was her name? Lucy? Who was all, oh, I may faint. Pull yourself together, girl. Which, I mean, I guess she did when she turned into a vampire. Spoilers. But, I mean, that book's been out for a while, so if you need spoiler alerts for that one, I'm not sure I can help you. So now I'm on to 20th century American Gothic, Faulkner, King, Rice, and Bright. Don't know who Bright is. Poppy Z. Bright. No idea. I've only ever read tiny bits of King. I tried to read the Dark something or other Tower book. I think it's a whole series. I tried to read the first one in whatever that series is. Can't remember if I finished it. Certainly didn't continue the series because it's just not for me. And then I read a book of short stories, some of which were really creepy. There was one about a sundog in that series, but I can't remember what collection that is. I haven't read Faulkner because, frankly, Southern American literature does... No, sorry, I got distracted by a pigeon on my balcony. Go squirrel. Yeah, Southern American literature, not usually my thing, personally. And Anne Rice I haven't read because vampires aren't really my thing. So this chapter is slightly meh for me so far, but that's only because it's nothing against the writing of Sue Chaplin, who wrote this book. It's just that those books don't really appeal to me. The next one is British Gothic in the late 20th century, which I'm a little more interested in. And then we get into critical theories and debates, and that'll be fun. So I will get back to that after I've got to put some loaves of bread in the oven. Because, I was making muffins last night, and then forgot the last pan of muffins in there, so I burnt them. So now I don't have enough food for everybody to take on my trip, so I'm making bread today. And I hope it turns out. I used up all my white flour, so I had to use a little bit more whole wheat flour, which is hopefully okay. It's supposed to be about a third whole wheat anyway. I think it's about 50% whole wheat. Should be fine, I think. I hope. We'll see. In about an hour or two. I can't remember how long it takes to bake. The oven's preheating now. It doesn't take 2 hours to bake, but I can't remember how long you put it in, and it's still gonna finish rising. Anyway, bread tangent aside, I will read some of this while that is baking. And then the other book, I finished the book, All the Colors of the Dark. That was an audiobook. And it was good. I really liked it. The pacing was weird. Like, it's marketed as a thriller. I'm not really sure it has thriller pacing. It's a good story. It's dramatic. There is tension. I'm not sure that makes it a thriller. There is allegedly a serial killer out there, girls disappearing. But mostly it's the story of 3 people and their complicated relationships with each other after a kidnapping. Yeah, so, it's a really compelling story that I don't really think is a thriller until like the last, I don't know, handful of the chapters are really short, so maybe the last hour out of 15 is thriller-y, but before that it's a really good story. Takes a while to get to the ending because it's not short. Now I'm reading something that is short for Shorty September called The Ballad of Black Tom. Whoops. That's not going to focus at all on this light. Anyway, it's a novella by Victor LaValle, who wrote Lone Women that I read a couple weeks ago. I can't remember. My memory is just not what I would wish it to be. Anyway, I liked that one quite a lot. So I got that from the library because I wasn't sure. I'm not really I'm dipping my toes into horror. I'm not an aficionado or anything. I like Gothic, so I'm dipping my toes into other sort of horror adjacent subgenres. Not really sure what this is about. It's Jazz Age New York, which also is not usually my thing, but this is set in Harlem. The character is a black conman who delivers an occult book to a reclusive sorceress in the heart of Queens. Opens the door to a deeper realm of magic and earns the attention of things best left sleeping. So, could be interesting. At any rate, it's very short, so if it's not interesting, it's not going to take very long. So I think the audiobook is about 3 hours, and that just came in from the library, which is why I'm reading this now. Yeah, that's my plan for tonight. Audiobook of this while I'm finishing baking and cleaning up and packing, and then Gothic literature the rest of the evening. So I didn't finish Gothic literature because I went out to one of the meadows. Meadows is a bit, maybe, optimistic term. It's former pasture land that's being converted into a suburb. So a bunch of us went out and rescued some seeds from a bunch of native plants. So I've got a bunch of those today. And between that and getting ready for my trip, I got a little bit of Taking Up the Runes listened to, but not all of it. And I'm off now, so I got about 20 and a half hours read between Friday and Sunday. Which is not 24, but it's the best I could do, so I'm going with it. Anyway, that's all for now. See you next time.